Welcome to my podcast, and I am so thrilled to welcome a man who I hope has become my friend and whose story has so inspired me and I think millions of other people. It's Colin Thackery, the most wonderful man in his Chelsea pensioner uniform who has so many stories to tell, and he's written a book called My Story, Love Changes Everything. So there is no better podcast and book to be discussing than that book in this month of February, when we're all looking forward to Valentine's Day to cheer us all up, and you're actually already perfectly dressed for Valentine's. Thank you so much for joining me, Colin. I don't know where to start, actually. You're firstly covered in medals from both serving in the army, the Royal Artillery,
yes,
and perhaps, actually, why don't we start with the fact you've been awarded the MBE. Do you want to tell us about that? Because that must have been so amazing.
It's a high point. At my age as well, it started a year before when my son said to me that you do so much for charity and you really ought to be recognised. And so he enlisted the aid of my partner, Joe, and between them, they garnered this great list of people and pleading with them, would you write a few words about me? And there was some wonderful stuff written. I'm really quite
moved by it, I'd imagine.
Yeah, and all this went on for a year, and I kept on saying, how long does it take? Well, who knows? No one's going to get anything, really. And then the early part of the year, this year, I was told that I was going to get an award, and I was probably going to be made an MBE.
Which is a member of the British Empire, for those who are listening to this from abroad.
Of the General Order.
Formal letter of some sort was there? Or?
Well, we were told not to say anything.
Yes.
So it was complete secrecy. We're sworn to secrecy. And because you ruined everything if you let it out. And the only people we could tell really were obviously my close family, my son and daughter. And Joe obviously knew because she knew right from the beginning. We didn't say anything. And because you're not allowed to say anything until you're gazetted, which is a marvellous thing in itself, really.
It is marvellous.
Yes. It is when you get the bound copy, which Joe, fortunately, she decided to buy me one. And from then on, you can be said Colin Thackery MBE. And then you wait to see who it's going to be, because it's either the King himself, Princess Anne, or Prince William. And that day we were summoned, is the word, really, to Windsor Castle.
Yes.
That's right. And I was allowed 3 guests. And my son, my daughter, and Joe fitted the bill beautifully. We all assembled. They came in, my son and daughter came together, and we drove off. And you arrive at this gate, because there's masses of policemen there, dogs and all sorts. So the gates were closed. But then we got through that bit, and they looked in the boot and make sure we were who we were supposed to be. And because I've got a blue badge, a disabled badge, I was allowed to right the way through. And we parked literally outside the castle. And then it starts. You go in and you wait. And you're assembled in groups and you wait. And you finally got through to the room with people telling you what's going to go on all the time, what the procedure is. And I got into the room where Prince William was on duty. And it was lovely to see him and just watching him, because there was a couple before me. And you go and you stand beside this chap. He's one of the equerries, I gather, who then whispers in your ear what you'll need to do.
So you stood opposite him.
That's right, and did my bow.
Yeah.
And he said, hello, and recognition in his face, because I had met him and the princess when I did the Royal Command performance.
Did he ask you to sing?
No, he said to me, are you still singing? And I said, oh, yes, very much. And we had a bit of a laugh, because I said to him, I'm made to sing every day. Or encouraged to sing every day. If I don't sing, I don't get any dinner, which he thought was quite funny. And we're laughing away there, because the whole thing is quite very strict. Everybody's straight-faced, and everybody's looking around to see who the hell they're laughing about. Anyway, it was lovely, and we had a little chat. And before I went in, one of the things they do is they put a hook on your uniform. So all the princes got to do is literally
hook it
on. And I got my lovely medal, this one, which I'm immensely proud of. And we went out of that room and into this other room where photographers. And it was just madness for photograph after photograph. And that was it, really. That was the whole thing.
And did you have a nice lunch?
Well, yeah, we'd organised lunch to come back. We have a very favourite restaurant. We're very fond of Italian food. And this Italian food, a restaurant called La Casa, is only a couple of minutes from Joe's house. So I then had my little lunch party.
Lovely.
It topped the day.
How amazing. So this you got when you were 95.
Yes.
And obviously your life started, and you've had such an extraordinary life. I think we're almost playing your life backwards, because the time that I remember first seeing you on television was when you went on Britain's Got Talent.
Yes.
But I gather that was a result of a dare.
It was rather. I'd arrived at the Royal Hospital, so I applied to go in when my late wife died.
Yes.
We were married 66 years, so it's rather a bit of a wrench. My son said, "Are you going to do it?" Because we had got notification to say that if the circumstances changed, you could apply to join. You got all the qualification. So I applied and was invited. One's invited to go there first of all for 4 days. And the 4 days is a look-see job. And they look at you.
So this is in the Royal Hospital?
It's the Royal Hospital itself, yeah.
And it's where famously, for those who live in London, that it's the Chelsea pensioners.
Absolutely, yeah.
I grew up in London, so I used to be as part of our afternoon walks going around there, because it was simply marvellous.
It is.
You always look so smart. It's such a beautiful building. I just have such envy, actually, of all the accommodation there.
Now it's 330 years old. I arrived there, and the other two guys on this 4-day visit were both Irishmen, and that we just laughed. They were very rude, as most soldiers are. One was medical corps and one was from the Irish Guards. And we're still great friends. We had our 4 days there where you go and you visit every department. You're interviewed by all sorts of people, including the Padre and the MO and all sorts of people. And we had a great 4 days there. And then, of course, at the end there, you knew they got too short what's going on. Then they said, "Would you like to come in?" And I said, "Oh, yes, please." So in the August of the year 2017, I entered and I was given the berth. I've still got berth number 6. And it was great. It was just one was back in uniform. Yeah. After all these years of being a civilian, we were back in uniform. And you're in uniform all the time. You should wear a uniform every day before 4 o'clock. And then one jumps into civvies if you want to. It's not restrictive, anything like that, because it's a proper home. I got together with this other guy, Bill Gorrie, who's still about, fortunately. And Bill and I used to talk about singing. He was a great country and western singer. And every month there is, and still is actually, Curry Friday, done army style, because curry in the army is very much constitutionary.
It is, very important. We have a Highclere curry as well. I'm going to have to cook it for you one time.
Oh, I look forward to that, yeah. Anyway, they could Curry Fridays, and there's one a month. And Bill and I used to entertain after curry for an hour. He'd sing country and western, and I'd sing love songs, really. And I had, over a drink at some time or another, I'd said to this chap, he said to me, do you still sing? I said, "I'm not doing as much as I used to," because we were singing all the time in Norwich, where we live. My wife was a good alto, so we belonged to the local operatic society and entertaining, that sort of thing. We were always singing. So I said to him, "Yeah, but I'm not doing very much. And if you don't use it, you lose it."
Yes.
One particular Friday, this chap came up to me after I got off the stand. He said, "Did you mean what you said? If you don't use it, you lose it." I said, "Of course I did." "We should expletive deleted. Prove it." So I went, "How?" So they want advertising for Britain's Got Talent. So I said, "They don't want an old man like me. I'm 89. Go on, have a go." He said, "How dare you?" I took him up straight away. I said, "All right." I went back to my berth, got on my computer. I downloaded the application form. And the rest, really, as they say, is
history. It was amazing. I think he made everybody cry.
Yeah, I know. I'm afraid I still do, actually. Especially when I sing. The first song I got on with was a song called "Wind Beneath My Wings."
Yes.
which Joan and I had seen the film with Bette Midler, of course.
That was it.
She brought the song into the public eye, and Joan loved it. It was her
I
favourite
love
song.
that song.
And she was, during all the years through the army, promotion, courses, that sort of thing, you're on the ladder. And she was literally the wind beneath my wings. So it fitted the bill, really. And it seemed to make everybody cry, which got me through to the next bit.
What was your second song then?
It happened to be just about the time of one of the celebrations. And Simon Cowell had said he ought to sing wartime song. What do you want me to sing? He said, We'll Meet Again. I said, oh, gosh, really? What song? Everybody knows that. Precisely. That's why they wanted me to sing it. So it was We'll Meet Again and To Dover. And I kept on getting very good praise from the audiences, standing up, clapping and cheering and all the rest of it. And
I think I was doing that but at home. Sorry about that.
But so then you're told you've got through. Now, the first time this Wind Beneath My Wings was a filmed audition, and that was at the Palladium.
Yes.
The next two were at the Apollo Theatre.
Right.
Yeah, and that was rather nice. And because you go through the crowds as you're going in, people
Amazing.
shouting out there. You first found what all this is all about, really, that people really do listen to the radio and the television and all the rest of it. I got through that and sang We'll Meet Again. It happened to coincide. He was very clever, Simon Cowell. I said to my son at the time, I don't want to sing that old song. My son said to me, he said, Simon Cowell, if he says do it,
yes,
he's made a lot of money being right. And of course he was absolutely right, because it chimed straight in with what was going on at the end of the war and all that sort of celebration. And everybody knew we will meet again, still do. So I sang that. Next thing I knew is you're through to the final. And that was extraordinary. And on the way I was helped, a lot of help. I was helped by an officer, a Major Philip Shannon, who's since become a great friend. Now, Philip Shannon finished up as he was like me, he'd joined the Royal Artillery. Finally finished up leading being musical director of the band of the Royal Irish Guards.
Yes.
And he was great. He was great help musically, because he rehearsed me and all that sort of thing. And that was lovely. And I got loads of help from him. And at the same time, the television people paid for this lovely lady who was her coach. She's still going. She's still very strong. And she put me through the hoop. And we became, again, good friends. And I never take anything really seriously, not anymore. I think it's a big laugh. But she was quite serious, and she helped me through. And I went on with it, as I say.
And then what for the final, your final performance, that was Love Changes Everything, wasn't it?
It was.
And why did you choose that song? Was that a recommendation of Simon Cowell, or was it your personal choice? Or?
Recommendation, would you like to sing this song? It seems to fit the bill. And I said, yeah, okay. So I learnt the song, and Phil put me through.
Yes.
We laugh now because he had certain ways of putting me through things and stamping his foot. We still laugh about that now. Next thing I knew, I was astounded, standing on the stage there. You could see this on film. But they said, you won. I said, well, I said to him, a deck. Yes, one of the Hutton deck were there all the time. I said, what's happened? He said, you won. I said, have I? I did. I wasn't quite, because I don't hear very well as well. You see. I'm deaf in both ears.
So how extraordinary. That's led you on to making various CDs and...
Yes, that's right.
Amazing.
A book and
a book and a CD, and being asked to sing, well, at the Royal Albert Hall, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was looking forward to the time when they said, you'll be invited to sing at the Royal Command performance. And I thought, what else?
Unbelievable.
There's nothing else to do, really. Just do it. And I vow to thee my country.
Amazing.
Which is a lovely song.
Beautiful.
And so they set me on the stage. And of course, the Prince William and the Princess were there. And they were the royalty that night.
Yeah.
And it was a wonderful occasion. I remember coming through the curtains after this long introduction. And there were young drummers coming across the stage.
Wow.
Drumming to this. The way they put it together.
Amazing.
It was extraordinary. And at the end of the performance, all performers back on stage. The principals like myself.
Yes.
And I went and stood on the stage, and I remember standing next to this chap who was a contortionist, this little Russian fella, I'll never forget him. And we waited there, and eventually the prince and princess came on stage. And they were so nice, they were so natural. And of course, I couldn't take my eyes off the princess. She's so beautiful.
She is proper princess, isn't she?
She is. She's absolutely gorgeous. And they were there. They stood to talk for a few minutes, and then that was it. And my family were waiting in the dressing room. We all went off. I think I'm right in saying it was quite close by. It was a Chinese restaurant.
I was going to say Italian, was it? But it was Chinese.
Yeah, we all love Chinese food.
How lovely. Amazing. It's extraordinary what you've achieved, Colin. I imagine
sure.
Joan upstairs must be looking down and applauding you.
I'm sure, yeah.
But without a doubt. But this has been the end part. And obviously your book starts at the beginning when you first meet Joan. And it starts with, as you say, you fall in love with a complete stunner who then agrees to marry you and be with you and stands by you as the wind beneath your wings for 66 years, which is extraordinary.
She did. The thing about it, marriage, it was one of these things, is it going to happen or not? And is it going to work or not? My parents were divorced. This is why I went in the army so young. I joined when I was 15. And I had my father and my aunt, his sister. My father came to the wedding, actually. And we made 2 weeks. We were warned to go to Korea. Off we went. And I saw her 2 years later.
Wow.
And instead of coming home after our stint in Korea in the war, we sent to Hong Kong instead of coming to the UK. And because we were married, I was entitled to put in for her a free passage for Joan to come on the ship. Because everybody travelled by boat those days. Nobody flew anywhere.
No.
And so she did. She spent a month coming out to Hong Kong. And that's really when we started our married life.
Yeah.
And my daughter was born a year later in Hong Kong, in a British military hospital in Hong Kong. And that started our married life, and we just had a lot of fun. Never had any money. Good fun, though.
But I guess you had each other and you had your singing. And I think now I've gathered you've got a great-granddaughter, which is amazing.
Her name is Dahlia.
Dahlia.
Yeah, my son-in-law, my daughter's husband, is Lebanese. So his two daughters, my two granddaughters, got English and Arabic names.
Yeah.
I must check when over Christmas I'll talk to him about this. I think Dahlia actually is Arabic. I'm not sure, but I think it means flower.
I'm sure it's probably related to Dahlia, and we probably got our name for Dahlia from their name Dahlia.
She is been christened Dahlia Joan, with my great-grandma, Dahlia Joan Davies.
How lovely.
Yeah, she came onto the world in January. And I didn't meet her until March, so I was 95, and they came down to celebrate my 95th birthday. And I saw her and I fell in love straight away.
I'm not surprised.
Yes,
how lovely.
Absolutely.
How lovely. One of my number 6 sister's husbands from Lebanon too. So their 2 daughters have names which work for both parts of their culture.
Yeah.
They are fluent in Arabic as well as French and English. I wish I was as clever as they were.
Yeah.
I sometimes get them to try and teach me to say something in Arabic, and I do my best, and then they cry with laughter as I'm perfectly hopeless. But anyway, I like to try. I hope your great-granddaughter will learn Arabic as well as English. It's lovely to do that from the start. But it is amazing. So you've got this extraordinary later part of your life, which we've been chatting about. But of course, much of your life was within the Royal Artillery.
It was.
And part of that came through because in September of last year, 2025, I wanted to gather everyone at Highclere to think about 80 years since VE Day and to say thank you for all our parents and grandparents did, and to raise money for those who serve and save today.
Yes.
And one of the men who I was involved with was the controller of Safa, a marvellous, heavenly, gorgeous man who I adore, in case you hadn't realised, called General Sir Andrew Gregory.
I know him very well. Yes.
And he was in your regiment, the Royal Artillery. He was the gunner.
He was boss man. Yes,
he is boss man.
Yes.
And he is just one of the most special men. So it was delight for me that he was there and helping me. Yeah. And obviously, of course, as well as that I reached out, not really knowing you, to ask if you would come, and you did. And it meant so much to me because It's just trying to draw people together from all nationalities and say thank you.
Yes.
There you were, and you led us in the singing, which was blooming brilliant. The only other person who was there was Colin Bell, who obviously is 105. So he shakes the leg at you in terms of saying you have a bit of age to catch up on him with. But he was fun too. So you were the two heroes of the day for all the thousands of us to listen to and cheer. But thank you for coming to that.
It was a delight, actually. I think we came over 3 days, every day. And it was great fun. And
it has to be fun, doesn't it?
Oh, of course.
Because people don't come if it's not fun. And again, I wanted to bring people together from all backgrounds, whoever wanted to come, and just to be part of understanding the history. So it was very real, because you can't do that just with books.
Yeah, that's right.
But with people and your stories, you can. And it's marvellous. And I have to say, in your red coat, you always look simply stunning.
Well, I walked around dressed like this in the Scarlets all the time, and people stopped us all the time for photographs. One always gets a load of people wanting photographs because of the uniform. And that was lovely, and talking to people all the time. And great fun. We came upon this group of people all dressed up sort of wartime fashion, and they did the tea party. Do you remember the tea party?
Yes, I saw you actually. You seemed to be having a lot of tea with them.
Yes, they said, come and have some tea. And it was Joan. Jo was there, of course, she was with me. And we went and had tea with them because all their cakes were wartime recipes and that sort of.
Amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then I think on the second day, can you come at 5 o'clock because we want to sing We'll Meet Again? And then we recorded that, We'll Meet Again at 5 o'clock.
That was amazing, actually.
It was good fun, though, the whole thing.
Yes, it was good fun. And I loved it because you came with Jo and we all had supper together on each evening, which is always good fun on the Saturday. And I loved that. It's the sort of camaraderie of it all. And wonderful Reverend Richard Warden, who was just stunning, bringing us all together because everybody kept changing. It's always quite fluid and it's difficult to bring ambassadors, and
that's right.
You can't tell them what to do because they do what they do. So he was amazingly calm and just went with the flow, which was wonderful, as did you. But he was great, actually. Yeah. So how long were you actually in the army for?
25 years.
25 years.
Yeah. I joined when I was 15 on boy service at Woolwich. And I did my training as a boy. You learn everything as a boy. Gunnery, on the guns themselves, and signalling and command post work, technical stuff. And then I was auditioned into the Royal Artillery Band. I had no idea I was being auditioned. In the drum or bugle band, in drum or trumpet band. And we'd finished this parade, and this rather small colonel came onto the parade. I hadn't the foggiest idea who he was. And he said him, and I pointed at me, and I was asked to come out. I was on the bass drum at the time. And he said, put a side drum on. So I put a side drum on, and they march up and down. You play a paradiddle and a roll.
Yes.
And so I was playing this drum. Yeah, I come back again. He asked me a couple of questions. He said, yes, okay, that's fine. I'll have him. I had the foggiest idea what was going on. Because in those days, you weren't told an awful lot. You just did as you were told. I ended up in the Royal Artillery Salisbury Plain Band at Lark Hill, would you believe?
Which is not far from here.
No, that's right. I was in it, and I went on a tour with them, world tour. We came back off this tour, and my father, who was still in the army at the time, he was a W01, he appeared, and he said to the musical director, I want him out back into duty. And he said, why? He said, you'll get no promotion in the band. And he said, anyway, it was a bit of a negative answer. And my father said, do what you like. But I shall claim him. Now, you see, being underage, you can be claimed by a parent or an older brother. I said, this was at the time, I don't know whether it still happens, into their unit.
Right.
So
How extraordinary.
He said, I'll claim him. And there's nothing you can do about it. So, of course, I had to be released, and I was released back to duty and was posted up to County Durham. That was there. I met me doing. Met this very pretty little girl from a local village. mining village. Everybody had, it was all mines. And found out that she liked dancing. I loved dancing. And so that was it. That started our 66 years of married life, yeah.
So what did you do after the army then, Colin?
I was offered a job by an old friend, a chap who recently died, actually. But we moved together, great friends. He was sent in. I was in charge of this barrack room. I had no stripes. I was just happened to be senior soldier.
Yeah.
And the sergeant major said to me, you're getting this bloke. Now, I said, I want you to bring him up to standard, show him how to clean his boots and press his pants and all the rest of it. So I said, yes, okay. So into this came this individual, and his name was Kenneth Brown. Ken and I became good friends. We went to Korea together in the war. We were in the same troop in the same battery. And when we came back, because Joan had by that time come out to Hong Kong, her ship had arrived. And so I started my married life. And he met this young lady whose father didn't want her really to have anything to do with soldiers. I don't blame him, really. But anyway, long story short, his father, and she took her off to Australia. And so he said, I'm taking my discharge. He'd been in for 5 years and 7 reserve. So after 5 years, he could elect to come out, which he did. And he took his discharge and followed her off to Australia. By this time, we'd had a lot of fun. We'd been in a concert party. We used to do little shows together, and he came out of his shell. And he went to Australia and worked for Nestle. He became one of their top salesmen. And then she wanted to come back to UK. She'd never lived in UK.
Yeah.
And they did, and they came back and started their family. But he said, when you come out of the army, what are you going to do? I said, I'm the foggiest idea. I said, dude, what do I know? I can drive. I could operate a wireless set. I can fire a gun. But who wants to know about those sort of things in Civvy Street? You come work for me. I'll find you a job. And by the time he'd back in UK, and he was always in the vending business. Instant everything, instant coffee and instant milk. So by that time, he was managing director of this small firm in Hounslow. And that's where I ended up. I came back and we went to Hounslow, where I started he threw me in the deep end. I'd never the foggiest idea what I was doing. I'd never been a civilian. It's so much so that when you get this great wodge of stuff at the end of your service, sorting this out at home, and I said, I wonder what that is. And Joan said to me, don't you know? I said, no. What is it? She said, that's the card, put the stamps on. You stamp. Oh, I said, is that what they call getting new cards? I had the foggiest idea.
No.
And so, yes, so there was that kind of thing. I'd never been a civilian.
I think many soldiers find that change of course immensely challenging. Have the bonds and the bands of brothers and friendship.
That's right.
Which are fantastic to build your life around.
Yeah.
Where many of those who are homeless were once in the army. And that's again why I like SAFA and all that does to help people when their life falls apart and restart them. But
this is that's like the Royal Hospital.
Yes.
There are men and women there that are widowed and widows, and you suddenly find your life coming apart.
Yeah.
And you go there, and now you're back in uniform, back in with guys the sort of people you serve with.
Yeah.
And then the banter and that sort of thing.
It's fun.
And it all starts up again.
It does all start up again. It's wonderful. And I gather that after you had won the Britain's Got Talent and done all these unexpected things when, at the age of 89 and 90, you also had met Joe. So another part of your life took a different course. So you gallivant forward for the next however many 10, 20 years of your life.
That's another story. I'm at the Royal Hospital and keen to sing, and there was a choir from the Old Bailey.
Yes.
And they're all ladies, and they wanted male voices. They were doing a concert, and they were doing the sort of music I like to sing anyway. And so I elected to go. And this lady had said to me, I want to find you a lady. I said, I'm sorry, I don't want any more ladies, thank you. At the end of the concert we did, It was all Baroque music, which I loved. The end of this time, we were a little party outside, drinking rather expensive warm white wine.
Excellent.
As one does. And she grabbed hold of me and said, "Come on, I want you to meet this lady." And there were 3 ladies. Jo was one of them. Straight away we said hello. It was the first time we'd ever seen. I don't know, but these things happen, don't they? And we just walked off, talking with our rather expensive
warm white wine.
I found that Jo herself was a widow. I was a widower, and they said, at least that started. And Jo, she's 23 years younger than me, about the same age as my daughter. But we hit it off.
It's lovely, and I think it's been an amazing journey with Jo. And it's been delightful for me to meet Jo when you came here in September. This summer, we're going to have a dance, sort of bits of glitz and glamour here at Highclere. A little bit of dancing and, I suspect, singing. And if you were to come, which I hope you will as my guest, who would you, above all, like to bring? It can be from the past or it can be from today.
I'd like to bring the princess, but I don't think she'd come. So, of course, Jo. We're together all the time, and it would be great fun for us to come.
So if the Princess of Wales doesn't accept your invitation, you're going to bring Jo?
Yeah, that's right.
I hope we'll have many more reasons to ask you and Jo back.
Yeah.
And to think of more bonkers things to do
together. Oh, absolute bonkers.
It's important to do that.
Yeah.
And much laughter and friendship as well.
Yeah.
But thank you, Colin, for coming along today. It's been really kind. And I wish everyone could see you. You look so smart in your uniform.
Thank you.
And many congratulations on your MBE.
Thank you very much indeed.
Medal.
Been a great pleasure.
Thank you.